I am Christine Thompson, and I am a chiropractor. I've been in practice in downtown Fredericksburg for 19 years. In fact, this month is my 19-year anniversary. And thank you. And I also do a lot of nutrition. I've found that I can't get the adjustments to hold without addressing the nutrition component with my patients. And exercise also, I address that a lot. And so over the years, I've incorporated more and more nutrition. For about 10 years, I've been using a liver cleanse program with my patients that I find very beneficial. And I just started a new weight loss program that what I call it is a how to sustain healthy habits program is really what it is. So what I'm going to talk about today is the manual therapies that help with the structural component of whole body detox. But first I want to go ahead and just cover some basics. And I know you've already heard some basics, but they are so important. After almost 2 decades of studying my techniques that I do in chiropractic, I will still many times go back to the basics and review the basics because they're so foundational. And so I think it's important to understand what we mean when we're talking about wellness, when we're talking about holistic health care, because it's a whole different concept than what is out there and what we hear about on a daily basis on the news and from our neighbors and all around us. So the wellness paradigm or the holistic paradigm is, as we know, about the concept that our body is a whole organism and that every single part of our body affects every other part, right? But I think the part of that holistic paradigm that we forget about is that our body is designed to be self-healing. Our body is an immensely intricate, self-healing, self-regenerating organism. And it is extremely adaptable, amazingly complex, and it has built-in systems to deal with most all of the insults that we would normally encounter other than life-threatening insults. So that's something I think that's important for you to remember as you go through this is everything that we are talking about and everything that we are doing as holistic healthcare providers is augmenting those natural inborn systems that you have in your body. Your body's extremely adaptable. In fact, it's amazing to me that we're still walking around today with all the insults that we have, right? So we can overdo the insults to our body and we can need assistance. But we have to remember that our body is amazing in its adaptability. Okay, so I just wanted to really stress that because sometimes I think that when we approach holistic health care, we sometimes see it as a way of treating our symptoms with natural methods. And that's not what holistic health care is. That's okay to do that. There's nothing wrong with treating your symptoms with natural methods. But holistic health care is about helping your body to do what it does best, and that is to heal yourself. And that takes time, right? So we can treat our symptoms naturally and we can feel better fairly quickly. But to actually heal our body, regenerate, build new cells, and be whole again takes time. And that time is dependent on how old you are, your general state of health, and how long you've had these problems. And sometimes we're actually not even aware that we've had the problems for a long time. They've been going on and our body's been dealing with them. Our body's been adapting and compensating and doing what it does, but those problems have been there. So when you are going to your holistic healthcare provider, always keep that in mind, that the actual healing process takes quite a bit of time for that to complete. Okay? All right, so why do we need detoxification? Well, I think everybody that's been up here has talked about that, but it's because we have overwhelmed our natural systems that are doing that detoxification, that are working on that daily, and that have been since we were born. But we have overwhelmed them because of stress, because of toxic exposure, because our foods are depleted of the nutrients that used to be there and are in reduced amounts now. And because we have a sedentary lifestyle, and movement is essential to the whole detox process. And because also we are mental, emotional beings, and we are susceptible to these thoughts that cause additional problems in our bodies. And I think that might be a way that we differ from a lot of the other animals who are also exposed to all these things that we're exposed to, but we have that mental, emotional component that seems to be more, I think it's a little stronger than in most animals out there. So we have to compensate for that also, and we have to learn new habits and develop new belief systems and develop new ways of being. Okay, so lots and lots of conditions respond to detoxification. And why is that? It's because all the things that I just mentioned, the stress, the toxins, the poor nutrition, all those things cause what's called inflammation in the body. And do you all know what inflammation is? Who knows what inflammation is? Nobody's willing to raise their hand. I'm not going to call you and make you explain it to us, but we hear that word all the time, right? We hear inflammation, inflammation, inflammation. What is it? Well, it's a natural process of our body. It's part of the healing process. It's what your body does to heal. So whenever there's an insult to the body, your body causes an inflammatory response, brings in the immune cells, brings in the fluids and the things that you need to repair and to heal and build new cells. So why is it a problem? Because we are under constant insult today, and so we have constant inflammation. And the cascade of hormones that happen once you have that constant inflammation become the problem. So in other words, our bodies are built to heal. They are self-healing, but they're not built for constant insult. So that's where the problem comes in. And so all of the things that are happening to us on a daily basis are causing this constant inflammation, and that's what our body's trying to deal with, and that's the beginnings of what is kind of overtaking and causing all the problems with our healing process and causing all the imbalances in our body. And so how holistic healthcare can help is by ultimately bringing in balance. We call it homeostasis, but we're bringing balance to the body. We are also doing things that will stimulate the immune system to help your body to heal better. We're doing things that assist your body's natural detoxification systems. We're doing things that bring down the stress load. We're doing all sorts of things that just help your body to deal with the insult that it's dealing with. All right, so here's one more review of the organs of detoxification, because that's what we're talking about today. So just more proof that look at how well your body is equipped to deal with toxins. And the reason for that is our own metabolic processes that go on daily in our body produce toxins that are so damaging that if they stayed in our body, they would cause great harm and eventually kill us. And so we have a natural system built in to get rid of those toxins that our own body's producing. Okay? So we have the lymphatic system, we have the circulatory system, we have the skin, we have the kidneys, the liver is our main organ of detoxification. And then we have the whole intestinal system, the colon, and the lungs. So the lungs are actually, they breathe in toxins, but they breathe them out also. So they're helping, and they're helping to filter that as it goes, the toxins as they go into the blood. So now I'm going to connect everything I've just told you with manual therapies, with the structural component of whole body detox. So I don't know if you're wondering, well, how can, we've talked about nutrition and we've talked about the lymphatic system, and we've talked about these ways that the things that can help with getting rid of toxins. But actually doing body work, as Dr. Jackson mentioned, is an amazing therapy to help get rid of the body of toxins. And the reason for that is the way the body's connected, as I was talking about before. So the picture that you're looking at there is the autonomic nervous system. And it's just showing you how the nerves that come out from the spine connect to all the internal organs of the body. We also have the circulatory system that's taking blood to every cell of the body. We have the lymphatic system that is taking toxins out from the fluid surrounding the cells of the body. We have the fascial system, and the fascia is a membrane. And it's a membrane that envelops every organ, every muscle, every blood vessel, every nerve, every bone, everything in the body is enveloped in this fascia. And the fascia is connected throughout the entire body. So you're starting to get the picture, I think, of how working on the body, physically working on the body, can help with this detox system that's built into our body, right? Are you getting that? Am I making that connection? Okay, good, good. All right, so there's a lot of different options that you have when it comes to body work and structural therapies. I'm going to cover just a few of them because I don't have much time today. And all of the ones that I'm covering are available to you in our community here. And I'm going to cover them very basically. I'm not an expert in all of them, but I know of them. And so I'm going to give you just the basics, and then you can go out and find somebody in the community that will actually deliver this therapy for you. Basically, acupressure and acupuncture are based on a 4,000 or 5,000 year old system of energy channels called meridians throughout the body that, when they are blocked, can disturb the energy flow in your body and create illness. And so those therapies are designed to unblock those meridian channels that relate to all the organs of the body. And it's a pretty fascinating therapy and pretty fascinating study. And then the next one is called lymph therapy. So your lymph system is another amazing system. So you have cells, right? You have your human cells, and then surrounding all the cells you have a fluid called extracellular fluid. And this fluid can accumulate some things that are too large for your blood system to filter. Certain things like dead cells, like bacteria, dust, certain particles are just too large for your blood to filter. And so the lymphatic system filters that fluid and takes in those things that are toxic and would be eventually damaging to your body, and filters them through lymph nodes, and then carries all that lymph to the blood system and dumps it into the blood system, and so that it can be filtered and removed. So it's an amazing system. However, it does not have its own pumping mechanism. So the lymphatic system relies on movement, muscular movement. It relies on the pulsing of your heart and blood vessels. It relies on peristaltic action. It relies on other systems of the body to get it moving. So if you were to just be sedentary most of the day, you're not doing a very good job of moving your lymphatic system, even though your heart is beating and your intestines are working. It's usually not enough if you have a lot of toxins to filter. And so what lymph therapy can do is to assist the lymphatic system when it's become blocked. How does it become blocked? A lot of different ways. It actually, if you've ever had surgery, think about when they're cutting into the body, they're cutting a lot more than just the skin and the muscles underneath. There's blood vessels, there's lymphatic vessels, there's a lot of things that are being cut through. And so that can impede the lymphatic system. And also certain diseases, certain injuries, a lot of different things can impede the lymphatic system. And so sometimes you need extra help, and that's what lymph therapists do. Lymph therapy is similar to massage therapy only in that they put their hands on you. Otherwise, it's a very, very light touch therapy. Some practitioners also use a handheld light beam generator, and I think there's other devices that some practitioners use also. Okay, and then we have therapeutic massage. And I'm guessing that most of you are familiar with therapeutic massage because it's probably the most common form of body work that we have today, at least the most well-known, I would say, that we have today. And I think a lot of people over the years have come to think of massage as a luxury, as something they're going to treat themselves to, something relaxing, something just to do to pamper themselves. And it is so, so much more than that. It's very therapeutic, has a tremendous effect on your body's ability to detoxify. It also has a tremendous effect on your immune system, your circulatory system, your structure. As a chiropractor, I recommend massage a lot because I can change the structure, but if the muscles are holding things in place, I have a lot of trouble with that. So I need a massage therapist to help that along and release those muscle trigger points and unbalanced tension in the muscles. And there's a lot of different forms of massage. So they all work wonderfully, and what I advise people is to find the level of touch that is comfortable to them and that works for them and feels that you feel like you're getting the results that you're desiring from it. So I say the same thing about a lot of different therapies. There's a lot of different methods, so you need to find the one that works for you. All right, and the next one is reflexology. Reflexology is based on the concept that the bottoms of your feet and the palms of your hands, areas on the bottoms of your feet and palms of your hand relate to other areas, organs, and systems of the body. And so they manipulate or massage those particular areas on the bottom of the feet or on the hands in order to affect the function of the organs or parts of the body, limbs of the body, different parts. So it is very similar to massage in that way. I think that it's also similar to acupressure in that you are manipulating specific points in order to change energy systems. And it also relates to all the other systems that I was talking about, the fascial system and the circulatory and nervous system. So that's just a diagram of the foot and how they divide it up into the different areas of the body and how each area affects itself. So you can actually perform reflexology yourself. You can get a book and you can go home, and when you're sitting and reading or sitting and watching your favorite program, you can be manipulating the bottom of your foot and actually helping your body to function better. It's pretty interesting. Okay, the next one is Rolfing, and it's also known as the name structural integration is actually the more proper name that it's known by, but we call it Rolfing because Ida Rolf is the one who started it. And structural integration is based on posture, it's based on structure, but it's based on the idea that the fascial system and restrictions and impingements of the fascial system is what's causing postural deviations and pain and illness and disease patterns. And remember the fascial system. So how many of you have ever tried to debone or deskin a chicken? Have you ever tried? So when you pull up the skin of the chicken and there's that thin white film kind of stuff, that's fascia. That's the fascial system, and we have that covering everything in our body. And you can see how when you pull it up, it adheres to the skin, but it also adheres to the muscle. And that's how fascia works. And it can get knotted up and restricted in certain areas. And so that's what people who do structural integration, they work on those restricted areas. So people ask me, is it like massage? Well, it's like massage in that they have their hands on you and they sometimes are going fairly deep, but their focus is different. Their focus is on releasing those fascial restrictions rather than releasing the muscles, which is more of the focus of massage, even though some massage therapists also do some fascial work. So there's a lot of intertwining of all these, don't you think? I think there's a relationship between all of them, and that's why I tell people to go find the therapy that works well for you, because there's so much in common between them. So the next one is chiropractic. And I'm an expert on that one. I could talk the rest of the day to you on chiropractic, but I won't, I promise. So chiropractic is based on the idea that the joints of your spine can get misaligned. This can happen from injuries, falls, accidents you have. It can just be daily habits, just things that you've done repetitively over the years affect the joints of your spine, and the joints become misaligned. So I'm not talking about a dislocation, like you dislocate your shoulder or dislocate another joint of the body. If you did that with your spine, you would sever the spinal cord. So we're talking about a slight misalignment. It's only millimeters, just a slight misalignment, but it's enough so that now that joint doesn't move the way it should move so that we can bend and do what we want to do. You ever notice a time when your neck doesn't turn exactly the way it should, back and forth or side to side, or something feels funny? That's a misalignment in the spine. And what that misalignment can then do, once you lose that normal motion and normal alignment, you can start putting pressure on the nerves that come through the spine. So the spine is not only designed to hold us upright and to hold our muscles together, it's also designed to house the spinal cord and the spinal nerves that come out from the spinal cord and go to every single cell of our body. And if that joint isn't working right in the spine, it can put pressure on that spinal nerve as it comes through the spine. And this can start to cause dysfunction in the body because the nerves are sending signals to all your body parts and telling them what to do, to your internal organs, to your muscles, to your blood vessels, to everything. And so something can start to go wrong. So as chiropractors, our focus is the spine, but we also look at all the other joints because in my mind, I'm standing on my feet all day. So if anything is going wrong with the joints of my feet, that could affect my knees, could affect my hips, could affect my pelvis, could affect my spine, and on up. And then it works the opposite way. If my jaw isn't working right, that can start to affect my neck and how my neck works. That can then affect the rest of my spine and all the way on down to my feet. And so as chiropractors, we look at the whole structure of the body because we're mainly concerned about those nerves and how your nerves are working and how your body is communicating with itself. So what we do is we have various methods and there's various techniques that we use to adjust those joints of the spine and get better alignment, get better movement in those joints so that we can free the pressure on the nerves that are emanating from the spine. There's very, very gentle methods of chiropractic that just use pressure. There's methods that use instruments that tap on the spine. There's methods that use a more aggressive force to the spine. So again, what I tell people is keep trying chiropractors till you find one that works for you and the method that feels good to you, because every chiropractor that you go to is going to be extremely different from the other one. Okay, so that's chiropractic. And now I want to just cover a couple of things that are not hands-on body work, but also affect detox and are manual, I consider to be manual therapies. And there's a lot of these also. I'm just going to cover two of them. And the first one is the Ion Cleanse foot bath. And what the Ion Cleanse does is it uses an electrical current to cause electrolysis of the water. And it separates the water molecules so that you now have an ion, a charged ion, that attracts toxins. And so you put your feet into this water that has been electrically charged and that has these ions in it. And then those ions start pulling toxins through your skin, because remember, we learned earlier that our skin is one of our detox organs. When we look at our skin, we think it's a solid membrane, right? It's extremely porous. Anything you put on your skin goes into your blood, and things can come out through your skin from your blood also. So remember that it's very porous. Your skin works both ways, and be very careful of anything you put on your skin. So with the Ion Cleanse, if any of you have ever done it, has anybody here done the Ion Cleanse before? So if you use the water from your home and you were to put the electrodes in that water, just a tub of water from your home, you would see pretty similar colors to what you see when you put your feet in that water. You're just going to see a lot more of it when you put your feet in, because you're pulling a lot more of the same toxins. So in other words, when the electrolysis happens in just the water with no feet in it, it's still separating those ions and still pulling toxins right out of the water. So you'll see a lot of those same things, but they've been concentrated in your body. So a lot more of it comes out when you put your feet in the water. Okay? So there's no confusion about that. And the other thing I want to mention about the Ion Cleanse is it's not only pulling out toxins, it's pulling out minerals. So you need to be careful to replenish your minerals after you do the Ion Cleanse. It also will pull out medications, so you want to be careful about if you have medications that are really important, that you need them to be healthy and to live. You need to be careful to take them after you've done the Ion Cleanse foot bath. And there are certain contraindications that your therapist would tell you about. And then the next one is the infrared sauna. And infrared saunas are based on the concept that if we increase the heat and sweating of the body and increase the circulation of the body, we're going to increase detoxification. We're going to increase the body's ability to get rid of toxins, right? If we're sweating more, if we're increasing the blood flow, we're going to increase the body's ability to get rid of toxins. And so it's also a very effective way of detoxing, and something that you can do either, I know some offices have the infrared saunas, or you can buy them and put it into your home. Very effective. So there are some other things that you can do on your own. I know that we've already talked a lot about nutrition, and Dawn is going to cover that extensively pretty soon here. So I'm not going to talk too much about that, but there are a few other things that you can do. You can dry skin brush. I don't know if anyone else is mentioning that, but you can brush your skin with a brush, and that actually helps stimulate your skin to start being the porous organ that it is, to start letting toxins come through. And that's what that dry skin brushing does. And I want to again emphasize exercise, because it is so stimulating to the lymphatic system, and it is also makes you sweat, and it gets all the joints moving. And so if you have any arthritic problems or fibromyalgia, things like that, respond dramatically to exercise. So there's a lot of conditions that I consider toxic related, and arthritis and fibromyalgia are two of them. There's many of them. And exercise can be very dramatic. In fact, there was a study done with fibromyalgia where they had the participants do, I think it was 30 minutes of vigorous exercise daily. And in 6 months' time, all of their symptoms were gone. All of the fibromyalgia symptoms were gone. Now, to convince somebody with severe fibromyalgia to do 30 minutes of vigorous exercise a day is another story altogether. So one of the things that you can do if you do have trouble with vigorous exercise, like running, walking, biking, swimming, things that really require a lot of movement, you can do things that are simple, like you can get one of those rebounders, a little small trampoline. They're here I go again with the moving the mic. Small trampoline, and you can bounce on that, and that stimulates the circulatory and lymphatic system and gets all of that going. You can sit on if you can't even do that, you can start by sitting on one of those big round exercise balls and just bounce on that for a while, and that can stimulate the lymphatic system and help with detox. There's all kinds of other things out there. I don't think Donna's going to talk about her new wonderful little machine that she has. I forget what it's called, but it's a vibration machine, and that's very useful for people that have trouble exercising. And I'm not going to go into that, but there's all kinds of things out there that you can do. So don't feel that if you're not able to exercise to the level that you want to, that there's no hope for you. There's always hope. And so that's the last thing that I would like to leave with you with. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I had. So I just want to tell you that in my mind, everything has the possibility. Every condition has the possibility of improving, of healing, of getting to a better place than you are. And remember that your body is regenerating constantly. In fact, every cell of your body is replaced within about 4 years. Some of them take just a little bit longer, but just about every cell of your body is replaced every 4 years. Is that amazing or what? I mean, that blows my mind every time I say it. So in reality, if 4 years from this moment right now, we could be a totally different person, right? Now, there's a lot of factors to that. There's something called cell memory, and there's something called our belief systems and our concepts of our capability to heal, right? So we have a lot of resistance to that idea. But I just invite you to sit with that idea for a while. That 4 years from now, if I started today, I could be a completely different, more vital, healthier, enjoying my life, more engaged in life. I could be a different person. I could be the person that I would like to be. And how do we do that? That's what we're talking about today, right? Right. Okay, so any questions?
Why is it just an ion foot bath? Why not just do a whole body?
The question was, why is it just an ion cleanse foot bath? Why are we just doing our feet? Why don't we stick our whole body in there?
The water's yucky.
The water is disgusting when you're done, but that's actually not the reason. It would be far too overwhelming for your body. The amount that you would be, you just couldn't do it. It would be, okay, so we never, ever, ever want to overwhelm our built-in detoxification systems. When we do that, it's severe. If people overwhelm their own internal detox systems rather than assisting them and augmenting them, they get very, very, very sick. In fact, they go to the emergency room and they think they're dying because they can't stop this detox reaction. So we never want to do that. And it's very effective to just start with your feet, and that's plenty. And you would never want to do more than that. It would be too much for your body. And like I said, you're also pulling out minerals. So you wouldn't want to pull that many minerals out at once. You'd probably cause your heart to stop. Who knows what would happen? Don't do it. I really don't know. Nobody's ever done that experiment, and I'm guessing, but you wouldn't want to do that.
Yes, what do you think about those salt caves that you sit in?
Right.
No one mentioned that. I just wanted to
Yeah,
get your opinion on it.
it's based on the idea that minerals. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, she asked, what do I think about the salt caves where people go in for healing purposes? It has to do with minerals and their electromagnetic fields. So each type of mineral has a different electromagnetic field, and those fields can influence our bioelectric fields in different ways. And so that's what's going on there. And if you want a more in-depth explanation, I don't think I have it for you, but that's my understanding of how there's actually more than that. There's salt caves, and then there's spas now that have rooms where each of the spa rooms has a different mineral in it, and you go and sit in those spa rooms, and they have different healing qualities for the different minerals. And it is based on the electromagnetic fields and known qualities of those fields.
How the salt lamp works also?
Exactly. She said, "Is that how the salt lamp works?" And yes, it is. Exactly.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Minerals are a wonderful thing. Minerals are part of our body. We have all the minerals that are in the soil are in our bodies to some extent in trace amounts. And they're all essential, and they all have different qualities and different things that they help with. So yes, we live in a mineral world. And what's happened today is we're very, am I okay on time? Sometimes I'm not paying attention, but so we are very disconnected from the earth. And so a lot of therapies that are out there today are an attempt to get us back connected to the earth, because we honestly cannot be healthy without being connected to the earth. Do you all understand that? We were born on the earth, and we are earth beings. Our bodies are earth beings, and they are designed to be intimately connected with the earth. And now we stay in these buildings of glass and metal and plastic and all these other things that we're not designed to be in. So you need to go out every day and connect with the earth. And I'm not talking about, you don't have to lay down on it or get in a mud bath or something, but at least walk on the earth every day with bare feet, preferably. But can't always do that. At least walk on the earth and be in the trees and get that good oxygen from the trees.